What up, what up? This is Ace the OG, back on another topic, back on another video. So the title of this video is going to be, why are y'all voting for Kamala Harris? So admin notes, thanks again to all the subscribers to the channel. I endeavor to keep pushing the video out, give you leverage to better yourselves. So let's get into it. So why are you guys voting for Kamala Harris? So this is not a video to downplay or to ridicule or to make folks that are Democrats or are voting for Kamala feel stupid or anything like that. I'm literally asking an open-ended question. What's the reason why y'all voting for Kamala Harris? Because at this point, I really want to have a lot of insight as to why folks are voting for her. Like I said, I'm not saying there's anything bad for you voting for her. I'm saying, and I'm not even saying for you to tell me why you're voting for her to convince me. I just want to know the multiple reasons why folks are voting for her. Because, I mean, just like folks, why folks voting for Donald Trump, right? But I just really want to know the main reasons and the talking points as to why folks are voting for Kamala Harris. Whether it be identity politics, which this word has been thrown out there numerous times in the social media space recently, where folks are saying that they're voting for Kamala because she's black and because she's a woman. And to be told, I can really see that as a viable reason in the black community, because it was the same situation when Barack Obama was running for president. He was the first person at that time that was really close to being the next president, the first black president. I think Jesse Jackson wound up trying to run for president, I think back in the 1988 election. I'm not exactly sure how far he got, but obviously he didn't win, but I'm not exactly sure how much support he got. But I lived through the time that Barack Obama was running for president. And it didn't matter what ethnic group you were. It didn't matter if you was male or female. It didn't matter. Like, it seemed like everybody was on board for Barack being the next president. And I really believe one of the main reasons was because George Bush, the president before Barack, had put this country in so much turmoil that folks was really looking for a change. But, you know, it could have been, you know, somebody else. It could have been a Republican that they could have voted for again to run the presidency. But I think America at the time was really fed up with Republican politics. They was really fed up with the current president, and they wanted a change. And it just seemed like just everybody was on board, right? So in this particular situation, with it being 2024 and we have Donald Trump and Kamala Harris running for president, it doesn't seem like the country as a whole is totally behind Kamala. But in the same token, I don't see a lot of folks on the same board with Donald Trump either, right? It's almost 50-50 to a certain degree, in my opinion. And I know the main reasons why a lot of folks are voting for Donald Trump is because of proof of what's the terminology for it? It fails me to think about it now. Proof of concept, where he's been proven to be a president that's worthy of the economy the 4 years he was in. I think a lot of folks were not on board with some of his policies, a lot of his policies, right? But at the end of the day, America has seen what his presidency was, because he was president for 4 years. So I think a lot of folks that liked that were on board with his presidency and what he was doing as a president are most susceptible to vote for him again in this election. That's not the same with Kamala Harris, because even though she's been a vice president for the last 3 years and change, she hasn't been in the limelight like Joe Biden was being president. And, you know, at the end of the day, I totally get it. A lot of folks would come on this video and say that vice presidents are always supposed to be in the background, working in the background. They're not supposed to be up front because they're not the president. The person that they're behind is the president. They're just as a support. There's so much. They're kind of like a figurehead to a certain degree. And, you know, just in case, you know, something happens and, God forbid, the president becomes incapacitated, or they're not able to be a president anymore, then they're already in the chute to be able to take over. And that's what's happened in 2024, unfortunately. So we have President Joe Biden that has stepped down from trying to run again for president, right? And we have Kamala Harris in place of him to run for president for the Democratic Party. And like I said, there's so many reasons why I've seen folks wanting to vote for Kamala, but I really want to know in the comments below, and I want you guys to really tell me what are the main reasons why you as an individual is voting for Kamala. Like I said, I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of different reasons. I mean, you got folks out there that believe Donald Trump is the devil incarnate, and he's going to send the United States to hell in a handbasket if he becomes president, even though his economic policies were on point, and it could bring the economy back the way it was before, if not better, if he becomes president again. They're not concerned about that. They're concerned about the spirituality of things. Tongue-tied. When it comes to that, because they really believe that Donald Trump is not a person that should be fit for president because of his previous actions, his thought process about things, and they just really believe this guy's evil. I can't say whether he is or not. I really can't. Just like I can't say too much towards what Kamala Harris is either, right? I'm kind of neutral to a certain degree when it comes to the situation, because as a black person, and I don't want to say this to make it seem like I'm being biased or I'm being a person that's on identity politics, but for a very long time I was a Democrat. And the reason being is because my family were Democrats, and I really didn't do a deep dive as far as what Democratic policy was. It was basically, I voted Democrat because I'm black, and because my family is black, of course, so that's the reason why I voted Democrat all the time. I remember getting my first voting card at 18, and there was a local election for a mayor and a couple other positions in the city. And by default, without even thinking about it, I went to the polls and I voted Democrat on everybody. I didn't know a policy if it was in my face. I didn't know what these guys believed in. I didn't know what they were trying to, what they were going to do with the city. Didn't care. They were Democrats. So because they were Democrats, it was a no-brainer. Republicans was an enemy. These are white folks that want to tear down black folks, right? That's what it came off to me as, right? So because the Republican Party is racist, I'm going to go with the Democratic Party because they are not. They are for black folks, not Republicans. This is what I was taught. This is how I was raised when I was growing up. And of course, as I got older, I would follow policy to a certain degree. Being in the military, I couldn't really follow the local policy for my city that much, right? Because at the end of the day, it really didn't affect me that much. It affected my family, but it didn't affect my immediate family, my wife and kids. So I really didn't follow their policies, those local folks, right? And to a certain degree, I followed the state, but not that much because I was all over the place. I was overseas, I was in different states, all these other things. But when I was stationed back in Virginia in 2014, I really started to really look at policy, would it be the cities, the state, the government as a whole, right? And the more I did a deep dive as far as what the Democratic Party was about and what their policies were, the more it pushed me to lean towards Republican. And it was a really hard choice. It was, look, y'all, it's almost like politics for certain people, for certain folks. It's like religion. It's almost like trying to convert somebody from Christianity to Islam. And to me, that's really what it almost boils down to, because a lot of folks look at politics as almost like a religion. I don't think they necessarily feel like it's a religion, but I really feel like they have so much invested in a political party, whether it be their core values and core beliefs, that to try to move them over to another party is almost blasphemous. And I hate to say that word because we're not talking about the Bible or anything like that. But this is how a lot of folks feel about politics. It really feel like that. I'm doing the universe a disservice by switching over to a different party because this is how I was raised, and this is what I should believe in, because my family believes in this political party, whether it be Democrat or Republican. It's the same thing with Republicans. It's almost unheard of for Republicans to switch over to Democrat because this is how these folks are raised. The core values and core beliefs that have been instilled in them based off of their family's values are telling them that the Republican is what you should be. You should be nothing else. And if you become something else, we're going to ban you. We're going to disown you. You got folks out here right now, adults that have been literally shunned from their families because they switch political parties. And I mean, we see this all the time in religion. When a person goes and converts from Islam to a Christianity, and then vice versa, the families are almost like, hey, we don't want nothing to do with you. We don't believe in the Quran, so you can't be our family anymore. Or we don't believe in the Bible, so you can't be our family anymore. And it's a pretty sad situation when it comes to that. It really is. But politics is literally like that for a lot of folks and a lot of families. So the reason why I'm asking the question of why y'all voting for Kamala Harris is, if you're voting for Kamala Harris and you was a Republican before, how is this going to affect your family? How is this going to affect you as a person, right? And, what are the policies that you see that Kamala is going to present to America that makes you feel like that she's going to be the better candidate? What are things that she's saying, on TV, through social media? What did she say during the DNC that is convincing you that she is the better candidate than Donald Trump? Like I said, I'm not saying that you're wrong by voting for Kamala Harris. I'm not saying that at all. I just want to know truly the reasons why you will vote for Kamala Harris, because I want to have a full picture as far as why you are voting for her, so I can internalize that and make a informed decision as to why I would vote for Donald Trump, because I don't know who I'm going to vote for at this point. I really don't, because I don't prescribe to a particular party. We still got a little ways before the election happens, right? And I've been following Kamala Harris and I've been following Donald Trump for the last couple of months now, as far as, politics and what they're talking about. So I want to really make a really informed decision as to why my vote is going to be swayed towards Kamala or to Donald Trump. And, and personally, my core values, core beliefs now are more on the Republican side because of their policies. But that's not to say that I would never entertain voting for Kamala because of what she says and what the Democratic Party may come back and say, right? Because like I said, I don't prescribe to a particular party. So once again, why are you guys voting for Kamala Harris? I really want to know. So drop your comments in the comment section, and please let me know, because I want to have an informed decision with my vote, because all our votes matter. It really does. And the more votes that a candidate gets, the better off they're going to be when it comes to the election. So if you want me to be a Kamala Harris voter, you better come with it, all right? So if you want me to discuss a topic or a subject that is beneficial to the channel, email me at findingfitnessfolk@gmail.com. My email address is in the description below. This is Ace OG, signing out. I'm gone.